working on a project here. I built a wooden platform, and we have a queen-sized bed. It takes up about 2/3 of the cargo area of the van, and we want to put cabinet, an L-shaped cabinet here and over here. I bought a sink, so I want to put a sink in there, and then we'll have a container with water and maybe a gray water tank bucket. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I've been trying to figure out measurements and how we want to do this. We wanted to incorporate our chest type 12-volt freezer refrigerator into the bottom of the cabinet, but that wasn't going to work. We have this thing here, which is the fuel fill for the van, and that sticks out and kind of causes an issue with spacing and making the be one level, and then the depth of it was going to be an issue with the refrigerator because it was going to go from here and just to this area. And anyway, we changed all of that. We're going to go from here to here, and then to around even with this chair, and that'll just give us hopefully enough counter space to prepare food and clean things up. And that I'm going to try to bring the board over, since this is not usable space, and we're going to put the chest refrigerator here. I thought it would be a good idea to put the board end of the cabinet to here, somewhere in here, to utilize a few more inches, because this is a good this is like 7-8 inches depending on where I go with it. I don't want to go all the way to infringe where the refrigerator is going to be. So we want to make this stuff removable, so we're not permanently attaching it to the wall. And I have these channels here that we used when we hooked things, machinery or cargo or anything. We have the hooks and ratchet straps. So I'm going to put zip ties. I'm going to put a board going across here. I'm going to zip tie it in a couple of spots, and that will stick out maybe 2.5 inches. I haven't determined that yet. This wall is kind of at an angle too. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it comes out. So I want to have the board for the back of the shelf go along here, and then I'll screw 2 or 3 screws into the 2x4 or whatever size I put it on here, and then that will hold it in place. And then we'll work the corner out this way. And there's also a channel on the floor, and I may or may not have to connect it to the floor, but I was going to do the same thing with zip ties around and then up through the bottom of the cabinet, but this will probably be enough. So that's the start of the project. I had some things drawn up, and then we changed what we were doing, so I really don't have anything other than the measurements of what I need here, and we know what the height of the top of the counter will be. So I'm gonna cut a piece of plywood. It's kind of a crappy piece of plywood for the back, so I'm gonna cut that and work this and see if I can get a piece in place here, since this is the goofy wall, and then this side's completely open, so it doesn't really matter. I'll just put a nice piece here and go from there. I've never made cabinets before. I've made a couple of drawers for some older cabinets that we have in the house, so I know there's certain ways to make cabinets, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to apply that here. I don't want this cabinet to be real heavy. I want to be able to move it around. So I'm not even sure if I'll have this all as one piece. I may make it so that the L part can detach, but I still haven't gotten to that point. So I'm going to cut this piece of plywood for here, and we'll take it from there. I did a bunch of figuring, and I made a cardboard template trying to go around this pipe pump here. And I had it originally, I wanted to just kind of go here, but once I put the support behind here, I zip tied this 2x4 to the track, and that makes it level, vertically level. So in order to do that, I needed to cut more of it out and just go around the shape of that. So that's done. Now I'm working on the side that's going to come out this way. I'm going to come out 17 inches out to this track, and that'll give us enough room for the sink. We have this sink that we're going to put in here, 15 inches square. So I need a 1/2 inch front and back from the counter edge, and I added a little bit more, and I'm going to 17. So I'll cut a 17 by 32 inch side for here, and then we'll see. I'm going to have to cut out the bottom because the edge goes into this area here, so I'm going to have to cut this out for the wall. But I didn't want, I probably could have went all the way over to this edge here, but I didn't want to infringe in this area because that's where we're going to put the refrigerator. So I didn't want anything to be tight. That's about 1 week later. I worked on it a couple of days throughout the week. So I finished, this is bolted to the wall right now. I had put this piece in here to hold this corner together, and I have it all cut out around the gas tank filler pipe. And then I cut this piece, and I have this just brad nailed in across here, several spots that it pierced through. I figured that'll be enough to hold it for now, and then I'm going to figure out how I might glue a thin piece of wood all the way down the length of this, but I don't want to put a big bulky thing like this, 1.5 inches, because that will shorten the depth of our drawers, and I wanted to minimize that. So I definitely want to put something at the top here so I have something to connect the counter to, but I'm holding off until I get more of the cabinet situated. I cut out a cardboard template for the bottom piece here, and then I'll just trace the plywood for that. Decided to change the design so we don't waste space. I was going to put a toe kick in under here and bring the floor up higher, and then because of a mistake I made in measuring, the cutout that I made ended up being higher because I fixed the bottom. I cut off too much, so I fixed the bottom by putting some small pieces across there right here. So that then brought all of this stuff that I cut out up another 1/4 inch. So I put some supports down the bottom each side here for the floor, and it'll just be like 1.5 inches off the floor. That'll give us a little bit more height in the cabinet. And then I'll put some supports in the middle. I'll either put a board all the way across there or a piece in the middle, and then something in the front here like a leg or something like that, and then that should be nice and stable. So that'll tie this all together, and we'll be all squared up, and then I can start making the front. And however I'm going to be setting up the drawers, I'm thinking of 3 drawers here and a pull-out cutting board type counter extension. So I think I'm going to have it be like a pull-out, but I'm going to have it sticking out a little further out to here, even to the seat. And then we can have it that we can pull it out to about here, and that'll give us another 6-8 inches or whatever makes sense when you're pulling it out here. So I haven't gotten to that point. I don't really have it designed or even drawn up, but that's the tentative idea. So today I'm going to start off with making this bottom piece and the supports for that, and taking it from there. So I got the bottom attached over here, and I just put some blocks underneath right here and right there, and then screwed into the piece I have going across, and then I put a piece of this 1/2 2x4 in the center here underneath here. I'm going to put a support here so this doesn't sag. But I'm going to see before I attach a leg here, because this doesn't touch yet. I'm going to see what happens when I put the centerpiece in that goes up to the drawers to build the drawer frame. So right now I'm going to cut a piece to go across the front here. It's 3 feet. I'm going to cut a 2x4 in half, and it'll be just like one of these here, and I'll have that go across here, and then I'll probably put another one in the back, and then that'll be a nice board on each side to screw the counter into. I don't know if I'll go across the sides or not. I don't know if that's necessary, but that will shore up the corner there, because if I have this for the structural aspect of it, nothing that we won't have any drawers or anything going in to hit the back there. So I'll put a piece there. I'll have that screwed in there on both sides, so that'll tighten up that corner. I'm running these through the side, cut it in half, and then I'm running each side to even that out. And it is a little bit warped, so I'm hoping that'll straighten, cut off the bad part. Plus there's some splintery areas here. So I just got this piece and this piece put in. And I was able to tie this corner in tightly. So I still might put something down and around here. I still want to hold off until I see what I'm doing with the drawers. So the drawers I'm going to make 15.5 inches wide from outside to outside, and then I'll need a support with enough space for the drawer in around here. So I'm going to see about running a board from here down, and then start putting the supports in for the drawers for the front facing. And I also wanted to put the slot here for the cutting board / extendable counter. I'm making cabinets for our van for camping, and I see a lot of people in making cabinets are using pocket hole jigs, which I thought was pretty neat. So I picked this one up at Harbor Freight. I'm not really going to go too much into it. I had it out last night just experimenting with one piece of wood, and it worked well, so I have no complaints so far. So we'll see how it works for the whole project. But you got your basic jig, a couple bags of screws, different sizes, some screws, it looks like, for mounting it to a table or a board, the stopper for the drill bit, and then this is a piece that you can connect take the jigs out of here and screw them onto here, and then you can drill holes into something that won't fit into this, or it's just not conducive to doing it. So that seems pretty cool. So I'm going to use this today to do a couple of connections of boards on my cabinet. So far I've just been brad nailing the boards in through the sides and through into the supports and whatnot. This is going to be the center board of the cabinet, separating the area for the water and gray tank, and then the drawers. So I want to have that to be able to be removable in case I need to do something in there, and this should be perfect. So that's where I'm going to start today. This is the test one that I did last night. This is 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, and then I used the longest screw that was available in the bags here. So that'll be plenty to screw into the cabinet. So starting off, you need to adjust the depth, put the ring on your bit so that you don't drill into the base here. And since I have 1.5 inch material, the markings on the jig show to use these back holes. So you just put your bit in there, go down to a nickel. That's what someone used. You could probably use a washer or something else. You put your sleeve on there, tighten that up. You don't want to tighten it too tight so you don't strip it. And that's that. Then what no one mentioned in videos that I've seen is that you need a 1/2 inch drill, because this is a lot bigger than regular drill bits. I do have a set of larger drill bits, 1/2 inch drill bits, and I never worried about it because the drill, I had this drill forever. But if you just have a regular, I don't know what size it is, 1/4 inch maybe, it's not going to work. So just note that. So here's the board that I'm doing, and we're going to place that in there, center it to the jig frame, adjust this so that it's snug. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so that's basically centered in there. So then you just drill, and you don't force it, just let it cut. And I'm letting it basically stop before I pull it out, so I don't chew up the holes. So it's a little rough, but not too bad. You can easily clean that up. Good enough for what I need it to do. All right, so we'll get this into the cabinet now. So to screw the pocket screws in, you need a longer bit for your drill. And I bought this set from Lowe's. I really bought it because it has a square, number 2 square bit in here, and the screws that I bought for making the butcher block have a square head on them. So I couldn't find anything else. So I bought those, and I thought, oh, I'll just buy a square bit. Well, the square bit singly there, I forget which brands it was, but they were like $8 or $7 for the one bit. And I saw this pack, a Craftsman pack. It has the square bit and a T25, the slotted, and 3 of the Phillips number 2s for $6.50. So I figured you can't go wrong with that. So I got this, and I'll just use I don't know if Craftsman is as good as it used to be. I haven't bought anything Craftsman in years, but I figured it's going to be better than some real no-name crap. I'll only use these for the pocket screws and stuff, so I expect it to be fine. I'm using 1.5 inch screws for these pocket holes, and and screw this down into the base here. It'll go down into, I have a half a 2x4 underneath here, and so that should screw down into this, and that should be fine. But I'll put the one screw in and see how, if it protrudes or anything. I think this will be just the right size, so we'll see. I guess I should start it. Be a good idea. There we go. Okay. So I might put this in manually. I don't know. I don't have any real way to clamp this down, so it might be more difficult than it looks. Get it started. Let's see what the drill does. I don't know how to tell if it's all the way in. It doesn't feel like it's tight. Definitely not down inside there. So let me mess with this a little bit. All right, the screws that they gave you with the jig are garbage. That just stripped right out, and a better screw would have not wore out that badly with a couple turns. So I had to put a new screw in there, and I was able to get it to go down in. So let's try the second screw. I started by hand. I have it down in the hole there. Let's see. Well, it's in there, but boy, is that stripped. It's just chewing it up like it's like these are made out of aluminum or something. I'll be able to get them out if I need to. I'll get these top ones in. Got this one in. It's a little bit out here, very little. I'm not going to mess with that. It's even from side to side here, so that's what my main concern is. And the bottom here was warped, and I was trying to shore it up with a leg down here, and I never actually screwed a leg on there, but I was playing with it, and I thought, well, let me see what happens when I screw this board to here and then attach it to the rigid part here, and that brought it up. So I just tried it in the van, and everything is level. I mean, it might be off by a little bit, but nothing like, there's no dip in the board. So I'm going to get the next board for the back put in, and then see about the spacing for the cutting board or counter extension slide, and then the 3 drawers or 2 drawers. I'm going to start from the top and go down, and we'll just see what we end up with. This one went on very easily, and I believe that the distance is exact for each of these, or if it's off, it's not off by much. So that's going to be good. Everything's square, so it seems like it should go together pretty well here. Now I just need to start putting the supports in for the drawers and extended counter / cutting board area.